If you still think LeBron James was just a guy who bullied his way to the rim, then this part of the story should change your mind. Let's pick it up from the summer of 2012. The Olympic final, Team USA versus Spain. Pressure everywhere, gold on the line, and in the closing moments, it was LeBron James and Chris Paul making one big play after another to help the United States finish the job. And what made that Olympic run so special was not just that LeBron played well, it was how complete he looked. Across the entire 2012 Olympics, he scored 106 total points. That put him behind Kevin Durant and Carmelo Anthony in raw scoring. Durant finished with 156 points and shot 48% from the field. Carmelo had 130 and shot 53.5%. But LeBron, with only 106, shot an absurd 60.3% overall. That is what makes it scary. Because unlike KD and Melo, who were more naturally seen as pure scorers and mid-range assassins, LeBron was doing damage in ways people still don't talk about enough. A huge portion of his scoring in that tournament came from post-ups and face-up isolation. On those two play types alone, he averaged a ridiculous 1.33 points per possession. And out of his 106 total points, 77 came from those situations. Think about that for a second. International basketball is supposed to make life harder for a player like him. The floor is smaller. There is no defensive 3-second rule, which means the paint gets crowded fast and help defenders can sit there waiting like they're camping overnight. In theory, that should make scoring tougher. In theory, that should make space disappear. And yet LeBron still scored at a high volume and at elite efficiency. That's why I said in the last episode that his offensive game had become fully developed. By this point, he was no longer just a downhill force attacking the rim. He had layers, he had counters, he had counter. He could punish you with strength, speed, footwork, reads, and patience. And here's the funniest part, even on a team loaded with elite point guards. LeBron still led Team USA in assists. He had 45. Chris Paul had 41. So now let's fast forward to February of 2013, because that Olympic dominance was not some random hot streak. It was a preview. Early in that NBA season, LeBron ripped off 6 straight games with at least 30 points, and the lowest field goal percentage he had in any of those games was still 60%. That is not normal basketball, that is a cheat code wearing a headband. And those explosions became the engine for one of the greatest winning streaks in modern NBA history. The Miami Heat won 27 straight games. That remains the longest winning streak of the modern era. Yes, the 1972 Lakers had 33 in a row, but that was a completely different basketball win. During that 27-game streak, LeBron averaged 27.8 points, 8 rebounds, and 8 assists while shooting 58% from the field. He finished the season at 26.8 points, 8 rebounds, and 7.3 assists. Per GME with a true shooting percentage of 64%. His BPM was 11.7, the best in the league, and it was also the 6th straight season he led the entire NBA in BPM. He made first team All-NBA again. He made first team All-Defense again. Then came the 2013 finals against the San Antonio Spurs. Miami went down 2-3 in the series and returned home with their season hanging by a thread. Tim Duncan was going right at Chris Bosh, and in Game 6, the big fundamental looked like he had found the fountain of youth. He shot 13 for 21 and put up 30 points and 17 rebounds. The game reached the 4th quarter, and according to the story everybody remembers, the NBA had already brought out the Larry O'Brien trophy and started preparing for the ceremony. That should tell you how close this thing was to being over. But this is where LeBron showed the side of him that numbers alone can't capture. The stubbornness, the refusal to die, the willingness to keep banging on the door until it breaks. In the first 22 points Miami scored in the 4th quarter, LeBron was directly responsible for 20 of them, either through his own scoring or his passing. Some fans still remember this as the birth of headbandless LeBron because his headband came off later in that game. Others remember it as the start of pick-and-roll LeBron, when his control over those actions became even more obvious. Then came the chaos. Ray Allen hit the shot, the three-pointer that changed everything and dragged the game into overtime. And because both teams were defending like their lives depended on it, Miami only managed 3 made field goals in that stretch. Still, in the biggest moments, the Heat found a way to swing the game back, steal it, and force a Game 7. And in Game 7, LeBron unloaded everything. He finished with 32 points, 10 rebounds, and 11 assists. He knocked down 5 threes. He went 8 for 8 from the line. And in the final moments, he buried the mid-range jumper that basically slammed the door shut. Miami won the championship. LeBron got the ring, and that moment became one of the defining snapshots of his pride. After that series, people started using labels like headbandless LeBron and pick-and-roll LeBron. But what really mattered was this. He had evolved again. He was no longer just the most physically overwhelming player on the floor. He had become more surgical, And when you zoom out and look at those two championship years as a whole, it's hard to find many players in NBA history who can match that level of control over the league. During that stretch, LeBron made 2 straight all-star starting lineups, 2 straight first teams, 2 straight first team, all-defense squads, 1-2 regular season MVPs, 1-2 finals MVPs, and added an Olympic gold medal on top of it all. That was his first true peak. And honestly, good luck trying to find many 2-year stretches in league history that were more dominant. Then came the second great peak, Cleveland. LeBron returned to the Cavaliers and teamed up with Kyrie Irving and Kevin Love. But that first year back in Cleveland was not some instant fairy tale. The team was inconsistent. LeBron had spent that summer on a fish-based diet and dropped somewhere around 10 to 15 pounds to help ease his back issues. Even so, the injuries still affected him. He missed 8 games, and during that stretch, the Cavaliers won just once. But once he came back, everything changed. Cleveland ripped off a 12-game winning streak, and over the final 43 games of the season, they went 34-9. Then the playoffs arrived, and so did the bad luck. Kevin Love got hurt and was ruled out. Kyrie got hurt in the finals. The Cavaliers ran into the Warriors and lost the championship series. So in 2016, Cleveland came back for another run. They regrouped, grabbed the #1 seed in the East, carried a 10-game winning streak into the postseason, and marched right back into the finals for a rematch with Golden State. But this was not just any Warriors team. This was the 73-win Warriors. This was the season Stephen Curry became the first unanimous MVP in NBA history. This was the team that, at least on paper, looked untouchable. And then Cleveland fell behind 1-3. At that point, most people thought it was over. History said it was over. Logic said it was over. Twitter definitely said it was over. Then the series turned. Draymond Green's suspension became a major pivot point, and LeBron and Kyrie responded with the kind of basketball that feels almost fictional. When you say it out loud in Game 5 on the road, LeBron put up 41 points, 16 rebounds, and 7 assists. Back at home in Game 6, he dropped another 41, this time with 8 rebounds and 11 assists, and dragged the series all the way to a Game 7. And then came one of the most famous sequences in NBA history. In the closing minutes of Game 7, LeBron chased down Andre Iguodala and delivered the block. The block. One of the greatest defensive plays the finals has ever seen. Then Kyrie hit the 3, Cleveland completed the comeback. The Cavaliers won the championship, and a team that had been down 1-3 against a 73-win juggernaut made history. That title was not just another ring. It was one of the most important championships of LeBron's career, and probably the single biggest turning point in how people viewed his place in basketball history. Then we get to 2018. By that point, the Cavaliers had changed again, and not for the better. Kyrie was gone, the roster was weaker, the margin for error was tiny, but LeBron somehow produced one of the most outrageous carry jobs the league has ever seen. That postseason felt like one long emergency, and LeBron kept showing up with a fire extinguisher in one hand and a flamethrower in the other. He dropped 46 against Indiana. He erupted repeatedly against Toronto. He had multiple 40-point games against Boston. And somehow, against all logic, he dragged that Cleveland team all the way back to the finals to face Golden State. Again, in Game 1 of the finals, he gave us one of the greatest performances ever in a losing effort. 51 points, 8 rebounds, and 8 assists. But Cleveland lost in overtime. After that, the Warriors' overall talent took over, and the series slipped away still. The full picture of that 2018 playoff run is unbelievable. LeBron averaged 34 points, 9 rebounds, and 9 assists with a 62% true shooting mark. He delivered huge scoring nights, clutch shots, and one rescue mission after another. Even without the championship, many people still view it as one of the greatest individual carry postseasons ever. And that's the thing about LeBron James. No matter where you rank him, no matter what kind of player you personally prefer, you cannot deny that he is a once-in-a-generation figure. Maybe even rarer than that. Since the day he entered the league, every year the media has tried to sell us on the next prodigy, the next chosen one, the next this, the next that. And every year when you step back and compare the full package, skill, body, discipline, mindset, longevity, professionalism off the court, almost nobody even belongs in the same sentence. We are getting closer and closer to the end of his career now. So honestly, enjoy it while it's still here. You don't have to love LeBron. You don't have to make him your GOAT. But this is the kind of player people spend generations waiting for. And when he's gone, we may finally realize that what we were watching was not normal at all. We may never see another LeBron James.